Welcome to the first ever episode of Positive Mondays, Living with Purpose and Passion. I'm your host, Dave Dietz. Our guest, Gary Uremovich, has a background in health and longevity, clinical medicine, pastoral care, and emotional health. We'll share insights and strategies to help you live each day with more vigor and intention. So Gary, how are you doing today?
Doing very good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, great to have you here. So let's start off with, can you clarify how living with purpose and passion is important for us?
It's important for us to live with purpose and passion, especially as we get older. Sometimes we think that purpose and passion is important for young people and that it's not that important for us now at our stage of life, but it really is. It's important because it can actually help with our emotional and physical health through all stages of life, but especially in our older years. As we start to look at the dawn of our elderly years, we need to sense that there's something else for us, something meaningful for us. And that will give us more emotional resilience as well as enhance our physical well-being.
What are insights on finding something meaningful in our lives?
Well, from my experience as a health clinician and recently as a holistic health coach, I've discovered that we need to align our behavior with our values, with our goals, and with our passions. And if we don't define what those are, then we tend to live life that is rather empty, and we need to fill our lives with those things that bring us pleasure and a goal-centered life. And so choose activities you enjoy, whatever they might be, and embrace them and enjoy them. Whether it's yoga, walking, gardening, make them a part of your daily routine. And so integrating physical activity is very important. Second is prioritize your nutritious eating. That your diet is so important. And if you neglect your dietary needs, those foods that should nourish and energize you, then that's going to cause some problems with your energy level. And finally, cultivating mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Engage in practices that help you with those aspects of your life. Meditation, reading, the arts, conversations with friends, with family. Those are just a few examples. The spiritual domain is very important, especially for purpose. Feeling as if you really have a purpose for life, that you are here for a purpose, that your Creator has given you this chance to live a few more years, and so embrace it. I think that's very critical.
Yeah, all of those are really good points. It is quite a commitment, though, that somebody would have to make to embrace all of those guidelines there. How can we fulfill a commitment like that?
Well, that's a good point. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very excited about this podcast, because here we can go through each topic week by week and actually give an actionable response that people can have. And so instead of overwhelming our listeners with several different things that they have to get to work on right now, we can look to see what things can you do today. One thing that you can do today that can make a real difference in your life. And so it's going to be a comprehensive overview, but also it's going to be a step-by-step lesson. And each podcast will have an actual suggestion at the very end. And so I want this to be really something that every Monday you look forward to, because there's going to be something that you can learn and something you can do.
You mentioned having a positive attitude being critical for longevity. And earlier you mentioned positive psychology. Can you elaborate? What is positive psychology?
Positive psychology is a relatively new branch of psychology, and it's individual psychology, but it's looking at our qualities, those positive things about our psyche that are very important. And one of the problems we have with our emotional well-being is we focus on the negative. That there are things that I need to improve, and I feel so depressed because I'm not doing what I know I should do. Instead, look at those things in your life that really are very positive. And so strengths you have. Studies have been done that indicate that people mostly focus on those things that they're bad at, and they try and get better. But if you focus on what you're already good at, then you become phenomenally good. And so, for instance, if someone is great at public speaking, but they're not very good at for instance, doing competition, debates, they might think, well, I need to get better at debating. Whereas they can get a little bit better at debating, but if they focus more on public speaking instead of debating, they can get far better at that and become actually phenomenal if they focus on what they're already good at. And so I want to encourage our listeners, focus on what you're good at and then blossom in that area.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's with your analogy there with the debating versus public speaking. It's like learn to walk, then learn to run.
Yeah.
Obviously, our goal here is to not just survive, but to thrive. So, Gary, what would you say is an actionable suggestion for our listeners at this point?
Well, there are many. Being optimistic about what your life has embraced, having a sense of gratitude, having a sense of resilience. And right now, it's to tune in every Monday.
Gotcha. Well, Gary, I love your words of wisdom. You are really what I call an old soul. It's like you've lived many lives and you have some great information to share with people. And I appreciate that. I hope our listeners do too. So living with purpose every Mondays and living with purpose and passion. We look forward to this journey with you. Remember, folks, every Monday is a new beginning, a fresh start that brings us closer to living the life you've always imagined. So tune in next week as we explore practical strategies for holistic health and longevity. Have a great week.